And joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline, former national champion BYU quarterback, our dual threat analyst, Blaine Fowler. Blaine, welcome back to the show. It's good to have the posse back together. We're still waiting on you in studio, though.
You guys, I was over there this morning giving a tour, but they just wouldn't let me come near you guys. They're like, oh, no. You can't, even though you've all been vaccinated, don't go near those two. We don't want you near them.
Good to see security still doing its job. It's great.
Yeah, and they're like, I was like, hey, I want to talk to Jeremy Spence. So like, and you are? I was like, I'm Blaine.
Blaine Fowler.
I'm Blaine Fowler.
AFR, countdown to kickoff, men's basketball.
And they're
football.
like, and this is regarding? I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
You're like, I'm Blaine Fowler from Striker? Yeah, they're like, oh, come on.
I gave up. I just walked out, with my head down and a little bit defeated, and I had to pump myself back up to come back on the show with you guys.
We'll put you on the VIP list next time. Our apologies for
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Tell them you're with Studio C. You'll get right in.
Blaine, we've been talking about this anonymous coach in Athlon Sports that broke down BYU football and the current state of the program, and are very excited to discuss if you feel like this coach knows what they are talking about. So let's begin with this. That BYU football is better than when Kalani first took over. How do you feel about that initial assertion?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think they've upgraded the talent systematically and especially up front. I know that when Kalani took the job, he took a look at what they had in the program and said, need to get back to marquee BYU principles, the kinds of players that BYU can consistently recruit. And I know that he felt like he had to rebuild up front immediately, especially on the offensive line and on defensive fronts. But he felt like it was going to take some time because to do what they used to do, he felt like they needed to go out and get long, lean, athletic offensive linemen. So we're talking 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", that in high school they only maybe weigh 250. And so those guys come in and they shouldn't be playing right away. You grow them into the position. What happens is they end up being 6'7" monsters that can manhandle people. And so I want you to think back to the beginning of Kalani's time. He's starting Brady Christensen at left tackle at 255 pounds because he had to, right? And then Brady grew into a 310-pound monster draft pick that's an NFL guy that's going to play for a long time in the league. The good news is now Blake Freeland's going over there and going to play that left tackle at 6'7" and 320 pounds. But he's had a chance to get seasoned and to learn. He didn't have to get thrown in there as a 250-pound guy right off of his mission. And so, yeah, they've come a long way, and I think that's probably the biggest area. But I also think they've improved tremendously at all of the skilled positions. So, yes, they are much better athletically and physically than they were when he got here.
Certainly we will feel good about what happened last year going into the future. 11-1, obviously. And it's interesting, Blaine, because I want to take that and say, yes, BYU's building off that, and they will. Yet there's a part of me that says, well, that's an outlier in many ways, right? Given the schedule and the situation, BYU took advantage in an amazing way. So what from last year is an outlier, and what is, no, this is sustainable, this is who we are?
So go back to what we just first talked about. I think up front it's sustainable. I think they match up with anybody in the country up front with very few exceptions. And now I think, like, you look at it and you go, okay, who's the next guy? And I'm looking at Keim, who I'm watching last season, and I'm going, oh, he looks like a baby deer right now. Well, I just saw him. I just saw all those offensive linemen. I went over and it's the beginning of camp, and those guys are all working as counselors at camp. And I'm like, whoa, doesn't look like a baby deer anymore. He looks more like a full-grown bull elk right now. And then, like, next year he's going to be a moose, and so they've now got the program going where they bring these guys in, they develop them, they play a little bit as they're coming along, and then they become the guy at their position as they grow into it. I think that's sustainable, and I think they have guys in each class in the program. I think Darryl Funk's got a great group to work with, and they're just going to continue to be good. And when BYU's good, they maul people at the line of scrimmage. So they beat the heck out of you in the run game. They pass protect. And that allows them to do a lot of things in their passing, in their passing game, their ball control pass game. And so I think it's sustainable. I think they're going to be good on offense for a long time because of what they have up front.
Blaine, you already mentioned the skill positions once. We certainly discussed what BYU has at receiver and running back specifically. We know the three quarterbacks are going to battle for that starting position, but this anonymous coach said skill positions are solid and a little bit faster. How would you assess that commentary?
Well, it depends what if we're talking offense. They're more than solid. This wide receiving core now with Nakua times 2, right?
Yeah.
Along with Gunner, who's hopefully healthy, right? I don't know if he was fully healthy all year last year, and he was still a force to be reckoned with, right? And then the tight ends are as good as anybody in the country has. Isaac Rex is as good a young tight end talent as anybody has, period, right? So I don't know where it says, hey, they're good. They have a very, very good, a way above average group of skilled players on the offensive side, right? That receiving core, especially when you include the tight ends, is outstanding. And Tyler Algier he's as good as anybody has in the country. I mean, there's some elite guys, right? But we're talking about a guy that runs in the 4.4s that weighs 225 pounds and has good vision. He looks like an NFL running back. So I don't think there's a weakness in BYU's skilled group this year. So I don't know who that is talking, but I think he's probably understating how good they are offensively on the skills. On the defensive side, linebackers are not skills. They're kind of tweeners. BYU's linebackers are national class linebackers. Like, again, as good as anybody has, period. Anybody. And in the secondary, I'm with you, Jeremy. You were saying earlier on the show that you're waiting on the safeties to see. I think they have some athletes they can put there, but we have to see how productive they are, right? To me, that's the only thing on defense I'm concerned about. Corners, BYU, you can't throw over the top of BYU's corners. Nobody did it last year. If, let's say they start Keenan Ellis and D'Angelo Mandel, that's two guys that run 600 meters at the corner. You don't just run by BYU. Like, whoever that coach is must be thinking about 15 years ago, because they have the skill. When BYU
I knew
gets
it was
beat,
Rocky.
it's because they make it. You think it was Rocky? It could have been Rocky. But you don't just throw the ball over the top of BYU's corners. If BYU makes a mistake, it's because they brought really athletic corners in and they played him. They played a Chris Wilcox when he was a freshman. You know, they played him too young. Well, nobody ran by Chris Wilcox last year because he was smart. They never ran by him because he didn't have the speed to keep up. BYU's corners run as well as anybody's corners. The problem is they were rebuilding this thing. They had to play those guys too young, and they were making mental errors and they were getting beat mentally. Now they're kind of where they were with the offensive line, where these guys have been around. Keenan Ellis is a seasoned dude out at corner. Like, he can play. He can flat out cover. I expect BYU to play a lot more man this year, which is less confusing, right? You have fewer breakdowns when you just tell the guy, just go cover that guy and don't let him go by you and make a play. They can do that more this year because of the corners. And so the big question for me is, do they find the pieces at safety that can make this a good defense versus a really good defense? And that will be the difference. So we'll watch for that. But outside of safety, they're very good at corner and they're outstanding at linebacker, and their defensive line is deep and solid.
Okay, the next comment. Front seven is very good. Secondary is the weakness. You can hit them big there. You addressed the secondary. Let's talk about the front seven is very good. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think, and that's where I think they need to grow into it. They've got a lot of bodies. You know, they had Kairos last year. It's hard for a Kairos to really stand out because he's playing inside. But if you watch him on the films, there's times where he was just dominating in there. And I know he's been doing well so far in his professional career in the few mini camps that they've had. So I look at it and I'm like, there's some breakout guys. Like, I think Batty is the guy that we're going to turn around and when he's done and go, wow, that guy developed into a really, really special player. I think Fisher,
Fisher
losing
Jackson?
my mind, last name guy. Fisher Jackson. I think Fisher Jackson is just about a year behind Batty in terms of his development, and he has the potential to be a really good edge guy. So I think they have some pieces on that D-line. The D-line this year, I feel like I'm going to just call them solid this year. A lot of good guys. There could be some breakout guys. And then a year from now, maybe that D-line catches up with the O-line in terms of, is it a sustainable every year kind of thing? So solid is the word I'm going to use for the D-line this year. Outstanding is the word I'm going to use for the linebacking core. Very skilled and athletic for the corners. And let's wait and see how the safeties turn out. That's my assessment of the defense.
I want to ask you more about the defensive line. This is an area that when Kalani Sitake came to BYU, we thought, it's going to be a massive upgrade. BYU's going to bring in these guys he was getting at Utah. Hasn't quite happened, right? Kairos Tonga is the guy, but let's look at who BYU has on the line that perhaps could make an impact. Lorenzo Falatea coming off an injury, but a ton of experience there. Probably coupled with Atunaisa Mahe, who's hopefully the next Kairos Tonga, if there is one. And then on the edges, you mentioned Tyler Batty, Fisher Jackson. Uriah Leatawa was perhaps going to have a breakout year, breaks his leg in fall camp. Who do you see making an impact on that D-line this year?
Well, and I love you've outlined part of the problem of why they're not where we expect them to be, and it's been this kind of rash of injuries in that group, guys that you wanted to have develop. I think that Nisa is going to have a big impact this year. I think he's going to be a guy that folks have to double team. When you look at Lorenzo, a healthy Lorenzo, he has a body. You look at him and go, "Oh, this is the kind of guy we thought that he was going to get." But I'm going to go back to the original one that I talked about. I think that Batty is going to have a breakout year this year. And the reason is he's just a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger. He's fast. But if you just go to practice for 2 days and watch that kid 2 days in a row, you're going to be – I'm going to take a line from Hamilton, the musical. This guy is nonstop. Like he just – it's relentless. Like he reminds me of like when I used to go watch Chris Hoke at practice. Or and Brett was playing over on the offensive side of the ball, Brett Kiesel, those two Pittsburgh Steelers D linemen. But when I think of those two, I think of, my gosh, these guys are just relentless. They just never let up. Chris Hoke never, ever, ever let up for a single play ever. I go watch Batty, and I'm going, dude doesn't stop. The motor never stops. And he plays with an edge to him. And so now he's a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. He was already really skilled. I think that combination of strength, speed, and skill, and you put that into the mindset of a guy that's just going to work every day and just is relentless, I think this is his breakout year. And I hate to put that kind of pressure on him, but I have a lot of faith of the guy that works that hard, emerging and being not just a great player, but a leader on that defensive line.
Tyler Batty is young, scrappy, and hungry, and certainly not throwing away his shot. Correct, Blaine?
Yeah, not throwing away my shot. But isn't that a good description of him? This guy is nonstop. Just like Alexander Hamilton, never stops working, never stops moving. Just you can't hold him down. That's Tyler Batty.
Love it, Blaine. We appreciate the time and the analysis. We're only 89 days away from college football, man.
You guys, I kind of like after I was down, after you guys shunned me when I was in there, and I tried to pick myself back up. I went over to the beginning of high school camp with all the coaches there and all of the kids there getting ready to go. And you could just feel it. I could just feel football is close, you guys. It gave me the chills a little bit, and it got me up and got me over the fact that you guys shunned me, and now I'm feeling good about myself. Everything's good.
You'll get over it.
Unshunned. Blaine, thanks for the time, man. We'll talk again soon.
All right, guys. See ya.
Blaine Fowler on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Let's just hope Aaron Burns is not on the schedule.
Yeah.